She the queen, yeah, that's Queen Esquire. Legal trouble, she getting you out the fire. Another day and she solving another case, cause she litigate with dignity and grace. She the queen, yeah, that's Queen Esquire. Legal trouble, she getting you out the fire. Another day and she solving another case, cause she litigate with dignity and grace.
Hello, litigators and opinionators. Court is now in session. So if you guys are familiar with my channel, you know for at least 3 years ago in 2022, I had covered the very tragic story of Shanquella Robinson. This story was near and dear to my heart, and it still is very, very near and dear to my heart. And there has been a lot of updates with Shanquella Robinson. If you watch my prior videos, you'll see that sadly, our U.S. department system, criminal department system, they dismissed the case the last time we were here talking about this case. And they said they didn't have sufficient evidence. And it was so sad. But a mother's love will show a determination that cannot be broken. So there's been a couple of updates that I want to go over. And the first update that I want to first talk to you about is that apparently, and I don't know if this is actually true, but some people are claiming that the girl who went, the FBI is picking up the friends and sending them to Mexico where they're supposed to be facing a criminal trial. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but it's a rumor. I'm going to show you actually the person who is claiming this rumor that FBI is going to be sending them to Mexico. I don't know if this is actually true. People are saying this is false. So this person said on June 8th, y'all remember Shanquella Robinson, the girl who went on vacation to Mexico with her friends and was unalive? Well, FBI is picking up the friends and sending them back to Mexico where they'll be facing trial. That to me didn't sound right. This person here says this said false info. Unfortunately, this person says, yeah, that's crazy. I know my friend will get justice. God don't miss ever, regardless. So that turned out to be fake. But then as I went forward on, I found an actual article where the family is filing a wrongful death lawsuit. So, and they're going to be suing FBI, all the criminal justice department, and they're also suing the people that were involved. And if you guys remember Dejanay, that little woman who actually I feel is a part of the whole murder in the first place, who was beating her on camera. Well, she went and changed her name. Let me show you her picture before, because some people probably don't remember her. This lady right here, Dejanay, right here. Well, she tried to hide, y'all. So she went and changed her name. She legally changed her name to, let me read the article for you guys. So friend tied to Shanquella Robinson death in Cabo responds to lawsuit with a changed name. So Shanquella's mother filed a wrongful death lawsuit. She's suing all of the friends, and she's suing the criminal justice department, as I mentioned. She's suing law enforcement. She's suing everybody. And this is going to be her way of getting her justice, is through a civil lawsuit, because unfortunately our criminal justice system failed this family. And this is a big issue that we face in the United States as it relates to Black lives. A lot of our criminal justice system does not care about Black lives, and they fail at even trying to adequately investigate these crimes. So the mother is fighting hard, and the mother's love is very determined. So let's get into the article. Dejanay, and actually I'm going to show you the article because some folks probably want to read it for themselves. So let me pull up the article with the updates on it. So Dejanay Jackson, who is tied to the mysterious Mexico death of Charlotte native Shanquella Robinson, has changed her name according to a new court filing. Robinson took a trip to Cabo with 6 friends when she was 25 years old in October 2022. She died on day 1. And that's crazy, guys. That was 3 years ago. Can you believe it's 3 years ago we have been covering this case? Lawyers Sue Ann Robinson, who is not related to the family, previously said police were investigating the death as a murder and they had a suspect. Well, nearly 3 years later, a lawsuit has been filed, but no arrests have been made as public outcry continues over how U.S. officials poorly, and I'm going to add that to this, poorly handled this case, because they really poorly did handle it. After Robinson died, her friends took her luggage back to the United States and they told her mother that Robinson died of alcohol poisoning. But police reports, an autopsy, and videos circulated on social media challenged that story, and her friends, according to a lawsuit, concealed information and evidence. But this is what I'm going to tell you. This is how they're going to get their justice. They're going to have to cough up the money. Now, it's sad because these individuals don't have money. They broke. But it's still a way for them, for the mother to find out what happened, because they're going to have to go through depositions and they're going to have to go through questioning and answering. This is why they're doing it this way, because it's going to force the perpetrators to be deposed by Sue Ann. And I'm going to show you who Sue Ann Robinson is. Sue Ann Robinson is the attorney for Shanquella's mother. I know if y'all was on my channel, y'all know exactly who Sue Ann Robinson is, because I had her picture plastered on here. She's a very pretty girl. I had her picture plastered. We dissected this attorney. We went in and out of this attorney on my page. And if you don't know about the story, go through my videos. You'll see we did tons of videos on this story. So this is the attorney, Sue Ann. Sue Ann is not playing. So Sue Ann is about to depose all those little fake friends that unalived Shanquella, allegedly. And she about to find out what really happened, because they're going to have to undergo questioning and answer, and they're going to be under oath, and they're going to have to answer all those questions for Shanquella's mother. So even if they may not have money, the mother is going to be able to find the truth about what happened to her daughter. They're probably going to lie, because they've been lying this whole time, but this is a way to get them under the fire, basically. So after Robinson died, her friends, so basically, they're going over the background right now. They're saying after Robinson died, her friends took her luggage back to the United States. They told her mother that Robinson died of alcohol poisoning, but police reports, an autopsy, and videos circulated on social media challenged that story, and her friends, according to the lawsuit, concealed information and evidence. Robinson died of a broken neck. Let's go back to Robinson here, just in case some people may not know who Shanquella is as I'm reading this article. Okay. Here you go for some people who don't know who I'm talking about. So Shanquella had died of a broken neck, according to the autopsy report. Police reports say a doctor who spent hours with Robinson inside the friend's villa after they called for help with potential alcohol poisoning repeatedly told them to call an ambulance. They refused, the report says, until it's too late. And here, let me show you her memorial that we had went over before. A lot of this we went over, but we're about to get into the updates. So just hang tight, guys. They want to give you guys a review first, because some people may not know what happened. So this was the memorial that they had. These were the favorite colors of Shanquella. She loved pink and yellow. And they did this beautiful memorial recently. So friends of Shanquella Robinson, they gathered on January 8th, 2023, on what would have been her birthday. So her birthday is January 8th. And that would have been her 26th birthday. And so they gathered at the Beatty's Ford Memorial Garden, where she was buried. After a video by one of Robinson's travel mates shows one friend hitting a naked, inebriated Robinson over the head the day she died. The doctor tried to revive Shanquella Robinson before her death report excerpts show. The friend was, okay, now y'all, remember Dejanay? Why did Dejanay change her name to Imani Green? Yeah, so she tried to be out here being Imani Green, but I'm about to expose her real name. So now she changed her name to Imani Green. It used to be Dejanay. But she trying to hide from y'all. So y'all look up. Her name is now Imani Green, formerly known as Dejanay Jackson. So she thinks she gonna get away with it. Girl, you're gonna have to change your name again, because now everybody knows your name is Imani Green. So now you got to change your name again, okay? How long she gonna keep hiding? They gonna know who you are. So her Dejanay Jackson is now going by, like I said, Imani Green, according to court records in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of North Carolina. Robinson's mother, Salamandra, there it is, Salamandra Robinson, in October 2024, filed a lawsuit in Mecklenburg Superior Court against the FBI. She's suing the FBI, y'all, the U.S. Department of State, and Robinson's friends. Y'all, she is bold, and I commend her on this. And you know why she's suing all these people? Because they're all going to have to be deposed. Her attorney's going to be able to depose the FBI. Her attorney is going to be able to depose the U.S. Department of State and Robinson's friends. So she is going to be able to get down to the real truth of what happened to her daughter. And she's going to be able to find out what evidence that the FBI had, because the FBI was withholding this evidence from Salamandra. Salamandra and her attorney was asking FBI, what evidence did you guys have? Why haven't you guys prosecuted? So they're going to be able to file, they're going to be able to get evidence of what FBI has in their records on this case. They're going to be able to subpoena all of FBI's records, the Department of State. They're going to get all the truth. So we're going to follow closely this case to find out what other information we're going to get from this tragedy. Robinson's mother, Salamandra, the court records indicate Green was electronically served, which is Imani, also known as Dejanay, trying to change her name. She was served electronically twice, once in December 2024, and again she was served January 2025 before responding through a typed mail letter Wednesday. So they had to serve her electronically because she was hiding, basically trying to change her name because she thought she was going to get away from Salamandra and avoid getting sued civilly. But they found you, Imani, girl. We know your name now. Imani Green. I'm calling your name, girl. So anyway, she got served. She responded recently, you guys, to the lawsuit. So she's ready to get sued. And then this is a photo, if everybody remembers. This is beautiful Salamandra. This is the fighting mother of Shanquella. This mother is a strong mother. A mother's love cannot be defeated. This woman has been fighting 3 years straight for her daughter, y'all. 3 years. And I feel like there's finally some progress with this lawsuit. Salamandra listens to attorney Sue Ann Robinson speak to the media on April 12th, 2023 about the investigation into Shanquella's death. Now, this is Shanquella Robinson's wrongful death lawsuit. So what they're filing is what's called a wrongful death lawsuit. And it's a civil lawsuit and it's for monetary damages, but I don't really think that's really what Salamandra wants. So like a lot of times victims, if they can't get justice through the criminal justice system, they will file this civil lawsuit, not necessarily for the money. It's because it's some way to make the perpetrator hurt. And what way can you hurt somebody? You can hurt them through their pocketbook. That's one reason. The second reason is to get to the truth, because now they're going to be able to, like I said, question them under oath to find out what happened. They're going to be able to subpoena evidence. They're going to be able to gather a lot so that Salamandra can get some type of closure about what really happened to her daughter. What was the investigation that was done by the FBI and the Department of State? Because these agencies, I don't feel adequately truly investigated this case as thoroughly as they should have. I feel like they dropped the ball in so many ways. They failed. They delayed a lot of the investigation. I don't think they did that autopsy really adequately. And that's why this tragedy failed. They should have filed and pursued charges. And it's just sad that they just failed to do that in this case. So in the complaint, Salamandra alleges the FBI and the State Department did not properly investigate her daughter's death. She is also suing the friends known as the Cabo Six for wrongful death, neglect, emotional distress, and civil conspiracy. And I think she also should sue them for punitive damages too. Hotel staff pointed police to suspect in Shanquella Robinson case. New records show. Oh, we got to click on that. We'll click on that article too, but let me finish this article up. The friends concealed critical information from medical staff and law enforcement in Mexico in order to evade culpability for Shanquella's death by returning to the United States. Attorney Sue Ann alleges in the complaint. And y'all, Attorney Sue Ann is not playing. That is a very good, competent attorney. I really, really like her. And I know she's going to get down to the truth. And I know she knows what she's doing. So I feel like the Robinsons are in really good hands. I do want to show you this article that was October 24. That's going to give us a little bit more information because apparently they're saying there was evidence that was hidden. Wait, what article was that? This is the article. Okay, pointed. Okay, sorry. Let me. This is not the article. But there's another article that was done just in October that I didn't get to cover, so I want to share this one with you guys too. All right, about here. Okay, here. Hotel staff pointed police to suspect in Shanquella Robinson case, new records show. So there was some new records that came out, you guys. I don't know how they got this evidence last year, but a doctor from the American Medical Center, a local hospital, is called the vacation property where Robinson and her family was found. A doctor arrives within an hour and found Robinson with stable vital signs, but dehydrated and unable to communicate verbally, inebriated. So, newly obtained information reveals the 6 people traveling with Shanquella Robinson fled Mexico after her death, and she was seen at dinner the night before acting strange. What? Robinson, 25, from Charlotte, died Mexico under suspicious circumstances while on vacation. An autopsy report from the forensic services classifies Robinson's death as violent. A combination of documents revealing a medical examiner's findings, interviews with hotel staff, and law enforcement reports were released to the Charlotte Observer and other media on Tuesday, along with a letter sent to President Joe Biden calling for an arrest. What? You guys, this is crazy. So back in October of just last year, Mexico sent a new warrant to Joe Biden, y'all, asking to arrest the Cabo Six again. So remember when we covered this case in 2022 and Mexico filed that arrest warrant back, in 2022? Well, they renewed their request again just a few months ago in October. Let's read that again. What? Okay, let's read that again. So a combination of documents revealing a medical examiner's findings, interviews with hotel staff, and law enforcement reports were released to the Charlotte Observer and other media on Tuesday, along with a letter sent to President Joe Biden calling for an arrest. So Joe Biden didn't do anything about that, y'all. He didn't even mention it at all to the public. He just ignored it. He dropped the ball. That's messed up. That is so messed up. Anyways, this is all wow. The documents include interview transcripts between investigators, both the manager and the concierge at the vacation villa. Lawyers for Robinson family, Sue Ann Robinson and Benjamin Crump, say the arrest warrant issued for Dejanay, which is now Imani Green Jackson, mentions femicide. In the 18-page information packet sent March 13th to top U.S. government officials, Crump and Sue Ann Robinson write, as a result of the investigation, a warrant was issued for Dejanay Jackson, which is now Imani Green, by Mexican law enforcement. One of the 6 travel mates who fled to the United States after Shanquella was pronounced dead. Miss Jackson was identified as the perpetrator of the femicide against Shanquella Robinson, a homicide based on gender. Here's a look at what's contained in the letter and law enforcement records. Now, guys, this is a new letter that was sent just the last year. And so I don't understand why Biden did not do anything about this, but let's listen and see what this letter says. Concierge recalls meeting Shanquella Robinson. A concierge working at Cabo Villas told an investigator with a specialized unit for the investigation of miscellaneous crimes that Jackson was the main guest handling the trip arrangements. That means, okay, Imani Green, who was previously Dejanay. Y'all remember who Dejanay is, and if y'all don't remember, we're gonna go right back to Dejanay because some of y'all folks like, I don't remember who Dejanay is. Dejanay was the one on camera that was assaulting and battering Shanquella. She is this lady right here. I'm gonna circle her. Dejanay Jackson, who is now Imani Green. Okay, her. She is now Imani Green. So I'm always gonna say also known as basically Imani Green. Okay. So let me read the updates to you. So they said that Imani Green, which is Dejanay, she was handling all of the trip arrangements. Okay. The interview took place November 17th, 2024 at 8:45 a.m. Y'all, this has all just happened just last year. Sorry. The concierge said the first night the group arrived, he noticed something was off. He said Robinson was the last person to join the group for dinner and that she seemed not to fit in with the others. And you guys remember how we really broke down those videos years ago when this first happened. And you could see how Shanquella was the outcast. She was actually kind of invited last minute because the other girl couldn't go to the trip. So they really didn't even want Shanquella there. She was like an outsider more so. She was more friends with what's that boy's name? Y'all tell me the boy's name. I forgot his name now. This has been 2-3 years. But anyway, she was friends with him. Y'all know who it is because y'all know the story very well. She wasn't friends with the other girls. But they said she didn't fit in with the others. They said the concierge said he greeted her, but she did not smile or say anything to him. And I think Shaquilla didn't smile because she was feeling really stressed out. These girls were treating her really weird. They were, that mean girl energy, like we were talking about years ago. We broke down this story. Those other girls were having that mean girl standoff energy, and they were in the room talking mess about her. So of course she had a little kind of quiet, reserved demeanor because she felt out of place and she just was not happy. So anyways, this concierge said he greeted her, but she did not smile or say anything to him. She was indifferent, nothing to do with the atmosphere of the celebration. She was out of place at the party, he told the investigator, according to the English translation of prosecutor documents. So guys, the reason why she was out of place is because, like I said, these girls were hating on her. They were jealous. Because look at Shaquilla. She was gorgeous. She was slaying. They weren't her real friends like that. They kind of knew of her and they hung out with her, whatever. They bought some of her products and stuff in the past, but they were jealous of her. Let's just keep it real. She was winning in life and they were just kind of struggling, getting by. You know what I mean? Dejanay Jackson, also known as Imani Green, texts for doctor. So the next day, October 29th, around 1:50 p.m., the concierge told investigators that Jackson texted him and asked if he was available and where the nearest medical service was. I think my friend has alcohol poisoning, needs emergency service, someone to translate or speak English for us, Jackson told them, which is Imani Green. And this is new information because remember, we thought that was wintergreen. When we had went over this story initially, the indication was that it was wintergreen that actually called for help, not Imani. So this is new information than what we heard before when we first dissect this story. So that's kind of interesting that this story is now changing, that they're saying Imani, which is Dejanay, was the one. Wow, I can't believe she was the one that called. Okay, where am I now, y'all? I've been jumping all these articles. Oh, yeah, so she was the one that called. The concierge offered to send a doctor who spoke English and who could determine if Robinson needed to go to the hospital. Jackson agreed to this and asked that the doctor be sent as soon as possible. And again, this is completely different, guys. Do you guys remember this story? This is like mind-boggling to me because I'm like, all this time we thought it was Wintergreen that was on that phone call that called for help. So I'm like, why is it now Imani? They're saying Imani. This is very interesting to me. Around 2 p.m., he said he called the doctor on call for the villa. And remember, we broke down who that doctor was. That doctor really didn't know what she was doing, okay? As the Observer previously reported, the doctor tried giving Robertson an IV. It is unclear what was in the IV bag, and about an hour after the doctor arrived, Robinson had began having convulsions. I told you that doctor didn't know what she was doing. She did not know what she was doing. The hour after this doctor arrived, what was the doctor doing for that entire hour? That is like medical malpractice at its finest. I feel like maybe Shanquella would have survived if she had proper medical treatment. I really think it was a combination of the battery, the gruesome battery, violent battery that Imani Green, also known as Dejanay, did. But I also feel like that doctor was contributory to her death, because how are you there for a whole hour and now Robinson started to have convulsions? And that, in my opinion, was when she was having cardiac arrest and she died. That's what I feel like. Because they said she was later declared dead by the doctor, referred to as cardiac arrest, which is what I just said. Shanquella's death. Previous police reports obtained by the Observer said that Winter Donovan, one of the travelers, called 911 and asked for an ambulance around 4:20 p.m. According to the police report excerpt, Robinson died sometime between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. hours after Jackson first texted the concierge for help. So this is interesting. They keep kind of back for, I guess Winter was the one that called for help after Dejanay called for the doctor. I guess. Yeah, I guess that's what happened. Later, the concierge told investigators Jackson had texted him that Robinson would be taken to a hospital, saying Robinson was not in serious condition but required an IV and was practically unconscious. The group, oh wow, so this is what happened. They downplayed her condition too. So Imani was talking about, oh, she's not in serious condition. She just needs an IV. Girl, bye. You know good and well she just didn't need IV. You knew what you did to her before, that she had a head trauma. So that was another issue with this whole situation. I can't really solely blame the doctor because the doctor received misinformation. And then when a person needs medical treatment, you have to tell them exactly what happened. And Imani, which is also known as Dejanay, I have to say, on the screen here at the top, she lied to the doctor. And so the doctor didn't give the proper treatment because the doctor was told to give Shanquella an IV when she actually needed to get rushed to the hospital because of a head concussion that she had, and her neck was broke. So that was the problem with that. They lied to the doctor. So anyways, the concierge says he told was discussing whether or not they had insurance that they could pay the hospital visit. Later, an administrator of the villa contacted the concierge to ask if he requested an ambulance because security was notified to let one in. It's not clear from the interview transcript how much time had passed. After this, he received another call saying Robinson had died and he needed to go get to the villa as soon as possible. It's not clear from the information in the police report or transcript exactly what time an ambulance arrived from the 911 call. So I really think it was the Cabo Six's fault, and they really should be held liable in a civil lawsuit because, number one, after Dejanay, also known as Imani now, battered Shanquella, they delayed her medical treatment, and that's what ultimately led to her death. She may have had these very grave injuries, but she could have possibly survived if she received the proper medical treatment. But when the doctor arrived, they lied to the doctor, so the doctor had no idea that this girl had been beaten to death, literally. Neck broke, everything broke. And so the doctor did not render proper aid because the doctor had no clue. So this woman was sitting here dying, and she should have been rushed to a hospital for emergency treatment. However, because of the gross negligence of the Cabo Six, all of them are going to be held liable in the lawsuit for wrongful death because they lied to the doctor, they lied to everybody, which led to this girl not getting the proper medical treatment, which led to her death, which is why I feel like the mother is going to have a strong lawsuit against the Cabo Six, and they're going to have to cough up money, okay? I don't know how they're going to pay mama, but they're going to have to pay something. But let's keep going. This says, Cabo investigation. When the concierge arrived, he noticed one of the guests was speaking with police. After entering the house, he said the guests were sitting calmly around the bar and dinner table in the main room. He sought out Jackson, Imani Green, to offer his condolences, he told investigators. Jackson told the concierge they informed Robinson's mother about her death and that it was so fast to lose her in an instant for having too much alcohol. Again, Jackson sat here, Dejanay kept lying, talking about, oh, it was so fast to lose her from too much alcohol. Dejanay, you lied. You completely lied. So let's keep reading this updated report. They said, then he asked if he could hug Jackson. Oh, wow. So this officer was trying to give condolences to Dejanay, who killed Shanquella, in my opinion. And this is guys, check out what this officer said. And this is so bad. I want y'all to read it for yourself. Oh my God. I want to punch Dejanay in the mouth right now. Let's read this together. Look at this, guys. Look what this officer said. He said, she gave me a very indifferent hug, very cold. Now imagine, you just allegedly lost your friend, right? And you're going to give this, instead of crying and mourning that you really lost this friend, if it really was your friend, you would be crying profusely, hugging, and all. She gave her a hug as if she didn't give a what? You know what I mean? I wanted to say something because I'm so mad about this story. This story still gets to me, guys. She gave that officer a hug like it didn't matter. Like she didn't care. She was like, oh, whatever. Let's read that again. This is crazy. He says, she gave me a very indifferent hug, very cold. I saw a very sad guest, a skinny girl. That's not Winter, guys. Put it in the chat who the other girl was. I forgot her name, y'all. This case has been so old. Man, what is her name? That other girl. We dissected all this stuff. All I gotta do is Cabo 6 and it's gonna be all over the place. Cabo 6. Where's our Cabo 6? This story was so sad. This is like one of the only stories that really hit me in the soul. But y'all put her name in the chat. She's a really skinny one. Okay. So they saw a skinny girl, because I think that skinny girl was not feeling this whole situation. He said he saw a sad guest, a skinny girl, and I saw that she was in pain. See, that was the girl, remember, who lost her sister. Her sister was killed by the sister's baby daddy. It was a domestic violence situation. That had just happened before she went on this trip. So not only did she lose her sister and just went to a Cabo trip, but now she watched her friend get murdered. So she's looking sad. The concierge told the investigator, he said, I left that area and stayed outside the main entrance to give them space to mourn and grieve. So wait, who was the one that hugged Dejanay's fake self? Sorry, it was the concierge. It wasn't the investigator. Sorry, I said that wrong. So the concierge arrived and he sought out Imani Green for condolences. And when he hugged Dejanay, she acted like she didn't care, basically. But the skinny girl, put it in the chat. Y'all know her name because y'all been studying this case just as much as I was. Minutes later, I heard laughter. The concierge recalled in the interview. Oh my God. No, she didn't start. They all started laughing after the girl died. This is a mess. Hours later, Jackson texted the concierge about dinner and he arranged a ride for the group to San Jose. But he found out later the group went to the airport. That's crazy, y'all. They went and tricked the whole law enforcement, talking about they wanted to go to dinner, but they used that as a way to buy time so that they could escape to that airport because they knew they was about to get questioned and go to jail. They knew it. Hours later, that's crazy. They laughing about this girl dying. They need to go to, I tell you, I'm glad that Salamandra is suing them. I hope she take every last drop of that money they have. They don't have any money, but I hope she take all their money. The next day, a maid told the concierge that the villa was empty and asked if the guests checked out. Surprised, the concierge said they had not, and he texted Jackson. Jackson didn't respond until the next day, October 31st, when she told him they had already left for the U.S. and asked if she needed to sign anything for checkout. Later, when news broke of Robinson's death and a video was released of Jackson attacking her, the concierge said he didn't realize that practically Jackson, who is Imani Green now, had manipulated him in an effort to leave the country as soon as possible. See, they were being shady, y'all. Now, guys, check it out. This is the letter to President Joe Biden. This was a letter that was sent to President Joe Biden, y'all. Right here. Can y'all see it? So this was from Ben Crump, Esquire, Sue Ann Robinson. They sent this March 13th, 2023. Okay. Honorable Joseph R. Biden, President of the United States, the White House, Honorable Anthony Blinken. Let's go ahead and read their letter. They said the death of American citizen Shanquella Robinson in Mexico. Dear President Biden and Secretary Blinken, on behalf of the family of Shanquella Robinson, we write to request immediate diplomatic intervention from the United States government in this transnational criminal case. The case involves the death of Shanquella Robinson, a 25-year-old ambitious, bright entrepreneur and American citizen. Shanquella traveled to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico on October 28, 2023, and was reported dead in a luxury villa in Cabo on October 29, 2022. Her 6 travel mates returned to the United States the next day. 3 of the 6 travel mates, Winter Donovan, Khalil Cook, Dejanay Jackson, now Imani Green, would transport Shanquella's luggage from Mexico to her mom's home in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now they're missing a name here, you guys. They said Winter Donovan, Khalil Cook, Dejanay. Where is the other girl? Because there's another girl. Why they only have these 1, 2, 3 people, guys? Put the other girl. Let me see if y'all put the other girl's name in the chat because they didn't miss her name in the chat. Right, Alyssa Hyatt. Thank you. Thank you, Christina. Alyssa Hyatt. That was the girl that was looking sad because her sister got unalive. I don't know if she was sad about her sister or Shanquella, but they didn't even put her name in this letter to President Joe Biden. That's very interesting. Alyssa Hyatt's name should have been in here. So anyways, they say they would give their condolences and inform Mrs. Robinson that Shanquella passed away from alcohol poisoning, which was a lie, as we talked about before. They said on November 16, 2022, one of the travel mates shared video from a cell phone camera around the campus of Winston-Salem University, the college that Shanquella Robinson attended. The video shows Shanquella being beaten in the villa while naked by one of the 6 travel mates, who was identified by a witness as Dejanay Jackson. And y'all go ahead and put her new name in the chat. An autopsy report prepared on October 30th, 2022 in Mexico by a Mexican medical examiner, Dr. Rene Adalberto Galvan Asegura. So that was the name of the doctor. Her name, remember, we went over her whole background, but her name is pretty long. She was the doctor that tended to Shanquella, noted that Shanquella's body had a head injury, and she concluded that Shanquella's cause of death was broken neck. Now, this medical examiner was not the one at the villa, though. This was the medical examiner that examined her body. They did the autopsy. So Dr. Rene Adalberto Galvan Asegura was the one that did the autopsy. This was not the doctor at the villa. Sorry about that, guys. After the video of the beating of Shanquella Robinson surfaced online, the Attorney General's office in Baja California, SER, initiated a criminal investigation. As a result of the investigation, a warrant was issued for Dejanay Jackson by Mexican law enforcement, one of the 6 travel mates who fled to the United States after Shanquella was pronounced dead. Ms. Jackson was identified as the perpetrator of femicide against Shanquella Robinson, a homicide based on gender. If a United States citizen commits homicide in Mexico and returns back to the United States, as you are aware, they can face criminal charges in the United States under federal law or state law, depending on the circumstances of the crime. Federal charges are brought in the cases where the criminal involves interstate commerce of federal law enforcement agencies. We know in a transnational case where evidence was possibly transported and persons of interest communicated with each other's via cell phone, federal charges could be brought against those responsible for Shanquella's death. Under federal law, the most likely charge that could be brought against someone primarily responsible would be in violation of 18 U.S.C. Section 1112, basically, which covers manslaughter and involuntary manslaughter. If the individual's actions meet the requirements of murder under federal law, they could also be charged with a violation of 18 U.S.C. 1111. Federal charges that could be brought against co-conspirators to the homicide include conspiracy to commit murder, aiding and abetting, accessory after the fact, and obstruction of justice. As you are also, of course, aware, transnational criminal cases can be complex and challenging to resolve, especially when they involve individuals and entities in different countries. We understand each country has sovereignty over its own citizens and that each country has its own legal systems which can create issues. We also understand there is a protocol for the resolution of transnational crimes. Despite reaching out to consular authorities who are tasked with being the family's guide and liaison in cases such as this, we have encountered numerous obstacles in our efforts to receive information for the family on whether those responsible would ever be brought to justice. While on a fact-finding mission on behalf of the family, Attorney Sue Ann Robinson was advised by a member of the United States Consular Corps in Mexico that if the family was seeking information about the case, perhaps the family should reach out to the at-large travel mates. Certainly, this is an unacceptable response to share with an American family in regards to their daughter's murder. Given the nature and scope of this case, we believe the diplomatic intervention from the U.S. government could help facilitate the necessary cooperation and coordination between the involved parties to ensure that justice is served timely, that the accused are tried under the appropriate legal system, and that extradition is possible, and that international cooperation is fostered. And I'm frustrated because Joe Biden dropped the ball. I never heard him speak about this case. I never heard him address this. He just buried it under the rug. And this is so sad, you guys. I'm just like, oh my God. Let's keep reading the letter they did to the president. Anyway, since the president, the United States can follow the extradition protocol and turn over the individual or individuals responsible for Shanquella's death to Mexican authorities. Alternatively, U.S. federal law enforcement agencies can request concurrent jurisdiction with Mexican law enforcement agencies, which would permit U.S. prosecutors to bring the case in the United States as the involved parties are U.S. citizens. So what they're trying to tell Biden is, look, you guys can both prosecute these parties here in the U.S. and you can have them prosecuted in Mexico. Because Mexico, as we talked about before, their judicial system is very lax. They're probably not going to give them many years in jail. They're probably going to have a very short sentence, y'all, and they're going to be released. So what Salamandra and Shanquella's attorney is saying is, you guys can choose to prosecute them concurrently here in the U.S. and in Mexico so that they can have a justified sentence, basically. So they're saying, we have just witnessed what a swift concurrent response from Mexico and U.S. enforcement agencies looks like in the kidnapping case of a group of U.S. citizens in Matamoros. And guys, we talked about this. Listen to this one. Matamoros, Tamaulipas, Mexico. Both scenarios we are requesting on behalf of Shanquella Robinson's family require a high level of swift intervention. And if you guys remember that case, that we did cover this case. So what she's talking about is there was another case that happened in Mexico. It was a Black family. This lady was supposed to go, her and her family and friends and stuff, they were traveling in this car to Mexico for her to get a BBL. And once she was on her way to get this BBL, drug cartel intervened and shot at their car, kidnapped them. Two of the people, men in the car, was killed and two survived. Once the girl who was getting the BBL, she survived. And then another guy survived. I think that was her brother figure survived or whatever. But that's what they were talking about here. And they were trying to say, we saw how our U.S. law enforcement handled that case. We want you to handle our case the same way, basically. To give that swift justice to Shanquella that you gave to those other U.S. citizens. And then Sue Ann and Benjamin Crump says, my clients recognize that the U.S. government has many priorities and responsibilities, but believe that intervening in this case would not only serve the interests of justice, but also send a clear message that transnational criminal activities will not be tolerated. Thank you for your attention to this matter. We look forward to hearing from you soon. Sincerely, Ben L. Crump, Esquire, and Sue Ann Robinson, Esquire. Now, y'all, we have not heard one bit about this letter to Joe Biden. And Joe Biden never even responded. Look, they even attached all the exhibits to show the evidence. This is the check-in evidence that we went over, the Cabo check-in, showing all of the parties that were there. We had Khalil Cook there. Malik Dyer was there. Winter Donovan. Remember, Malik came later on trying to act like he innocent. He was holding Shanquella while she was naked. Yeah, that's him. Okay. No, not Malik Dyer Malik Dyer. He get on my nerves. Anyways, Winter Donovan, her hot mess, mean girl energy. You notice how she didn't put her number on there. She was trying to play. Shanquella Robinson, Alyssa Hyatt, and Dejanay Jackson, who's now Imani Green, and Nezar Wiggins. Actually, it wasn't even Malik Dyer. I got the names wrong, guys. Nezar Wiggins was the one that was holding Shanquella's naked body over there, being kind of weird. He was the one that arrived later on. Not Malik. I got their names mixed up, guys. Sorry. It's been 3 years, so don't be mad at me. I'm just trying to get my mind wrapped around this tragedy again because it's been 3 years. But here was the PG interview report that they attached to show Joe Biden that this incident occurred November 19, 2022. Look, guys, we actually get to see the police report. What? The name of the interviewer was Santiago Miguel Marroquin Gonzalez. He was the team chief, and the interview took place at the San Jose del Cabo Criminal Justice Center, which I don't know if I believe that, guys, because they never left that hotel. So, I feel like they lying. But anyways, information about the interviewed party. So the person they interviewed was 39. That wasn't any of these Cabo 6. Let's see who this person is. They didn't give the name. They redacted the name of the man. Guadalajara, the manager, university. Oh, okay. So the person that they interviewed was the hotel manager. This is the hotel manager. So they took the hotel manager to the criminal justice system, the criminal justice department. He's 39 years old. Okay, he older now. It's been 3 years. So let's hear what he had to say. This was the hotel manager. He said, I am the administrator of the Villa Casa Linda number 32, Colina La Playa Residencial, Puerto Los Cabos. Fraccionamiento. I am not a Spanish reader, so don't be making fun of me, y'all. Fundadores Beach Club, Calle Padro Quino Esquina Padre Gillian in San Jose del Cabo, Baja California Sierra. Okay, no more Spanish, y'all. Give me some English. Where I have worked for more than a year and a half. Once I observed on my cell phone, the video circulating in social media network where two of the guests who had been registered in the villa appear, where one of them dressed in pajamas with shorts and blouse, possible colors pink, white with black, and a light colored cap, appears hitting another female person who was naked. The one who is hitting the other is the person named Dejanay Jackson, which is now Imani Green. I want to keep saying her name because I want y'all to know who she is because she's trying to change her name, whom I identified because I served as a translator on the day of events when the authorities were in the village conducting the proceedings. Okay, so this administrator, he was translating for the Cabo 6. In the video, it can be seen that the headboard is illuminated by the sun rays, and due to the location of the sun rays, I can deduce that it is between 7 and 8:30 a.m. since the bedrooms 1 and 3 are waterfront, and it is easy to deduce the morning schedule since the sun rises on the seaside, illuminating those rooms. That the room number 3, because that is the room number 3 because that is the only one that has a hammock outside of it, and the hammock can be seen in the video. Okay, so he's kind of describing where this room and this assault took place. And apparently he's saying it took place in the morning hours when they woke up, like at 7 or 8:30 in the morning. Also, after 10:30 a.m., the sun rays began to reflect towards the floor of the bedroom since there are some these Spanish words, pergolas of the outside of the room. I can also say that the villa, both at sunrise and sunset, are very annoying for that reason. The owner decided to place wood on the windows to prevent the sun rays from entering. I know this because I am the administrator of the villa, and on many occasions I have seen in the rooms at the time of the morning. Finally, I wish to state that the villa was reserved on October 28th to October 30th, 2022. That is all I wish to state. So he's just basically, when he was interviewed by the law enforcement, the administrator of the hotel, he was saying that this event occurred in the morning hours at the 7 to 8:30 a.m. morning hours in one of the master bedrooms. He was telling the officers it was in room number 3. So there's 3 rooms. And he said the third room where the hammock is located, that's where this incident happened, which was the master bedroom, apparently. And so he was trying to say this is where the event happened in the morning hours when this girl was beat. And so they kept, remember, guys, that this happened 7 to 8:30 in the morning, right? They didn't call the officers until like 4 in the afternoon. So what were they doing with this girl's body all day long? They left her body sitting there on the floor for several hours until like 4 or 5 p.m. when they called the police. For the doctor first. This is crazy, you guys. This evidence right here, they're going to use in their lawsuit now to show the gross negligence on the part of the Cabo Six, because you kept this girl there all day with her body laying there on that floor in that room 3, while you just was sitting there. But I don't know what y'all was doing. Okay. Now this is another witness that was witnessed that gave their statement November 17, 2022. This person's name is Suni Jasil Boca Milian. This person specialized for unit for investigations of miscellaneous crimes in the jurisdiction. The place of the interview was at the Criminal Justice Center. Sorry. This person's 41 years old, a male from Guadalajara. Their job is like customer service concierge. So this was one of the concierge reps, and they have a bachelor's degree. So they were like a customer service at the hotel. Anyway, let's go ahead and read it. This is my statement given to investigation agent Sunny Giselle Boco Milian in reference to the facts that are being investigated today. After informing me the reason for my presence and the interview, I have been employed by this person, they redacted his name, or Cabo Villa in the United States, where I work at Concierge in attention and customer service. I provide service assistance with doubts, any service that is needed for approximately 3.5 years. On October 28, 2022, I have been informed of the arrival of some guests to the Villa Casa Linda 32, which is located in Padre Quino, Puerto Pandores, Puerto Los Cabos, San Jose del Cabo, and Calle Padre Julian. The day before, I was sent the work schedule of the villas that we are to take care of at Concierge. So I knew that the guests of the Casa Linda Villa would arrive around 3 p.m. on October 28, 2022. The main client was Dejanay Jackson with her phone number, and I'm going to say her phone number. I don't know if it's her number anymore, but it's 1-860-888-9330. Who contacted me around noon by text message to report that her flight had been delayed due to the weather and that she would be telling me her new arrival time, confirming that it would be at 17:19 p.m. Then she asked me if after arriving and taking the transportation, she could stop to do some shopping, to which I responded that there is no problem. Oh, so she went to try to do some shopping. Dejanay was out here shopping. Wow. Okay. Then she told me that she was letting me know the time they were going to arrive. She texted me that she left the shopping center. So she was the first to arrive in Cabo, y'all, and she was going shopping. She arrived at the Casa Linda Villa around 20 hours. I had arrived to the villa around 15 minutes before and entered. And upon entering, I see a person of slim build, Afro-American, about 1.7 m tall, about 25 to 30 years old, to whom I introduced myself. Since he asked me who I was, okay, that might have been Khalil, either Khalil or Malik, one of them. I told him that I am concierge, that I will be supporting his vacation and everything he needs. Also in the villa were a chef and a waiter who are employees of the company and coworkers. Moments before, when I saw the guests, I was surprised since I wasn't aware that there were guests already at the villa too, which the chef told me the two people, a couple, had arrived at the villa a few hours before. However, I only saw the male guests described above. I prepared my registration sheets, the information I had to provide to the client, guacamole, tortilla chips, margaritas, and I waited for the main client, who arrived almost immediately in Transcabo's transport. They got off with their groceries, bottles of alcohol, tequila, put down their suitcases, started taking pictures of the villa. They looked excited. In total, 5 people arrived, 3 women, 2 of them African-American, and 1 between African-American and mixed Latino. That was winter, y'all. Of them, the main one named Dejanay Jackson, who is the, this is how they describe her, was funny, who is the sturdy build, tall, dark skin with a thick voice. a thick voice. They said she looked like a quarterback player, y'all. She was accompanied by two male guests of African American descent. That was Khalil and Malik, both of slim build. One of them had dreadlocks. The one with dreadlocks, I would say, would be Malik. I introduced myself to the main guest, Miss Jackson, as her concierge and welcomed her. I asked her if she would like to see the villa and show her to her rooms, along with some of her guests or friends to decide who would stay in the rooms. We returned to the dining room to sign the documents, which consist of guest registration, insurance included in the villa, and residential complex rules, and provide a copy of each one of them registering the following. One was Khalil Cook, two Malik Dyer, three Winter Donovan, Shanquella Robinson was four, five was Alyssa Hyatt, and six Dejanay Jackson, also known as Imani Green, and seven Nazir. Guys, don't forgive me for saying his name wrong because I know I'm saying his name completely wrong, but it's late at night. I'm tired. Nazir Wiggins, investigation agent Sunny Jasil Papoka Milian is in this act. The main guest stayed in the master bedroom, which is located at the end of the living room. Oh, because wait, whoa, hold up. They saying Dejanay stayed in the master bedroom because I thought that Shanquella did. I thought she stayed in room 3, which had the hammock, which was the main bedroom. I guess I don't know. Y'all let me know now because I know she was in room 3. But anyways, there are 2 rooms, and at the end of the kitchen is a TV or entertainment room. Then an access with an open area which connects 3 rooms. The first room on the left is a waterfront. The other room on the right is also a waterfront, and the third room, which is a double not waterfront, being this at the end of the garage. Okay, they breaking it down, y'all. I don't remember reading all this stuff before. I went to the room of the main client, Miss Jackson, to mention to her that the dinner was ready since 20 hours, and if it needed to be extended, they would be charged an extra hour, which she did not agree to, and sent everyone to dinner. Since everyone was settling in her room, minutes later, they all sit at the table, began to drink a lot, and that is when I meet Miss Shanquella, who was the last one to approach the table to celebrate. The last one, that is a red flag, y'all. They did not like this girl. We talked about this last time, how they just was not feeling her, and she knew something was off. That's why she came later on, because these girls were acting brand new and jealous of her, and she was the outcast. That's sad. She was the last one to come to the table. Noticing her in a strange, ineligible attitude. Well, she had an attitude because she knew these girls were talking mess about her. She seemed not to fit in with the others. When I introduced myself, she did not greet me or smile. She was indifferent. Nothing to do with the atmosphere of celebration. Well, because she was worried. She felt these girls were acting weird. She was regretting coming to this trip. She was like, man, I just hope I can make it through this trip. Let me just go ahead and keep myself positive to try to get through this trip and just be like, these girls hating on me. I can feel it. She was out of place at that party. I made sure they were seated having dinner, sharing, and celebrating, and that they had the information for the internet, the audio, the operation of the house. Once everything was ready, I left. All the clients, the chef. Okay, so they left the clients with the chef's phone numbers, the waiter with the waiter's phone numbers, and they stayed in a place. The next day at 13:50 or 13:52, I received a text message from the main guest, that's Miss Jackson, asking if I'm available and which was the nearest medical service. I greeted her and asked her how I could support her and if she was looking for. Okay, did I go too fast? If she was looking. Where am I at? Did I scroll too fast, y'all? I went to the room to the main client, mentioned to her that dinner. Oh, yeah, this is all. We already went over this. Sorry, guys, I got lost. Where am I? Okay. I feel like they skipped a page. Oh, this is 46. Why does this look like it? Waterfront and others, and waterfront and not waterfront being at the end of the garage. Sorry, guys, I just got lost. I went to the main client. They mentioned dinner was ready. We already read that part. Oh, here it is. Sorry, guys. It just looked kind of weird. So they said, okay, she asked for that doctor, right? And they said the next day, they greeted her. She said, I think my friend, I greeted her and asked her, how could I support her if she was looking for a hospital? She said, yes. She said, I think my friend has alcohol poisoning. Liar. And he's emergency and someone to speak or translate in Spanish for us. I offered to send her a doctor so she could determine if it was necessary to go to the hospital. And I told her that doctor speaks English. She answered yes. I told her that it cost $100 for the visit plus the medicine. I asked if she agrees and she said yes as soon as possible. I tell her that I will make the call to request the service, to which she answers yes. Around 2 p.m. on October 29, 2022, I told her, the doctor, who is our contact for medical attention, of our guest, whose telephone number is, and they didn't give us the number. And in about 4 minutes, Miss Jackson texted me asking what I had been told, and I answered her that a doctor is going to contact her to check her friend, and she replies, okay. Attached to this document is a screenshot of the conversation with Miss Jackson and I, where she asked me for medical help. The conversation is recorded, y'all. Oh, it was recorded, y'all. There's a recording. How come they have not released this recording? I did not know that they, oh, never mind. I was getting all excited thinking it was a video recording. Never mind. They said it was recorded on 3 letter-sized sheets of paper. Oh, boo. They should have recorded it. So they just wrote it on a paper, y'all. At 16:25, they texted me and told me that the girl had been hospitalized because she was being evaluated. I thought she died. She has to be hospitalized, and that her friends were finding out if she had insurance, to which I asked if she is in serious condition, and the doctor said no, but that she needed an IV, and that she is practically unconscious, and that was why she had to be hospitalized. Well, then how come they didn't take her to the hospital? They just kept her at this villa. Later, the administrator with the telephone number called me to ask if I requested an ambulance for the villa. I told him no. What? Why would you say no if she needs to be hospitalized? These people are all messed up. They need to sue these people in Mexico, too. Anyway, he tells me that the security of Puerto Los Cabos is asking him about the request and access of an ambulance to Casa Linda number 12. Later, they called me to tell me that the guest had died and asked to go there as soon as possible. That he is already on his way to help in whatever he can. I went to Puerto Los Cabos from Cabo to San Lucas after having spoken with, and they redact the name. Upon arriving at the villa, I find a couple of municipal police officers talking to, and they redact the name, in the parking area of the house. And one of the guests, who was of African-American descent, regular build, short hair, was coming and going from the house and calling by cell phone a relative or friend in the United States using a translator. I wonder who that was, guys. You guys can guess who that person is? African-American descent, regular build, short hair, and coming from the house. Short hair. It probably was one of the male. Y'all let me know who y'all think that is. I saw the main client, Miss Jackson, making contact with the male guest, and on several, it might have been Malik, I don't know, on several occasions entering and leaving the house. It could have been Malik or it could have been Khalil. During this time, or maybe it could even been Nazir, I don't know. During this time, I am waiting for blank to tell me what to do since he is my concierge team leader. So I entered the house. There, I initially observed the guests relaxed, calm, sitting in the living room near the bar and dinner table. That's crazy. This girl just died and they just acting like nothing ever happened. And I know we went over a lot of this stuff, guys, but this is a new report that we didn't see that was attached to the Joe Biden letter. So it's good to go over it to see if we can find any other details that we didn't get the last time we heard this case 3 years ago. This person says, my purpose was to look for the main guest, Miss Jackson, and give her my condolences. When I talked to her, I gave her my condolences. She thanked me and told me that they had talked to her friends, mother, and mentioned that this was so fast to lose her in an instant for having had too much alcohol. I asked her if I could give her a hug. And this is that part we already went over, but I guess it's in this report too. To which she said, yes, she gave me a hug in a different, she gave me a hug, but her hug was it was a very indifferent hug and very cold. I saw a very sad guest, a skinny girl that was Alyssa Hyatt, and I saw that she was in pain. I left the area and stayed outside the main entrance to give them space to mourn and grieve. Minutes later, I heard laughter. I approached Blank, who told me to leave. So basically, he approached his team leader. His boss told him to leave and to go back to the villa in Cabo San Lucas, and that he will be in charge of following up and supporting the clients and the authorities. I said goodbye to the clients, and I left for Cabo San Lucas. Later, 21:30 hours, the main guest contacted me and requested transportation to go to dinner. Okay, so he left those people in that villa. He left the Cabo Six in the villa for a while. So they were over there cleaning up evidence, calling their family. They were changing their flights during this time. And then later on, they called him talking about they want to go to dinner, but they really were tricking him, right? Because they hadn't eaten all day due to the situation. So I called with the phone number who owns the landline, requesting transportation for the clients of Villa Linda 32 to San Jose to go to dinner because they had not eaten anything. The driver advised that its departure from the villa to San Del Cabo to find a restaurant for dinner. At the end of the service, the driver with the phone number reported via audio message on the WhatsApp chat of the Lands End transfer group that the service had ended and that he had left the guests at the airport hotel. Dang, they were lying, y'all. They grabbed all their suitcases and got them out of there. The next day, Blank called me to tell me that the maid was reporting that there was no one in the villa and that if I had notified that they were leaving, to which I replied no, that the day before they had only requested transportation to the center. So later around 11 in the morning, I sent a message to, wow, this is crazy. They left Miss Jackson to offer my support, asking if everything is okay and if there was anything I could do for it. Wow, guys. So he reached out to Imani Green or Dejanay the day later. This part I didn't know about. This is new. So he called them after they tricked them and went to the airport. And he didn't get a response. It says, he said, without getting a response until the next day, Monday, October 31st, 2022, when she texted me asking if she had to do anything else for checkout. Wow, y'all. She was so indifferent. She didn't even care about if Shanquella was okay. They left her body there and didn't care. These people are evil. That's why I cannot wait till Salamandra sue them and do those depositions, y'all. We're going to try to hope that they can release the information about the depositions. But anyways, let's continue on. If she had so she going to call them on October 31st when she get back home. Y'all talking about, do I need to do anything else for checkout? You didn't care about Shanquella, how she doing, I know she died by then, but maybe ask, where her body was taken, all that stuff. No, she didn't care. And then she asked if she had to sign anything. I could email it to her as they had already left. Later, she asked me for the property manager's number. Wow. So minutes later, I sent it to her. Days later, I found out that there is a lot of controversy because of the news and the video of the main guest, Miss Dejanay Jackson, hitting her friend Shanquella, the guest who died. Wow. When I saw the video on social media, I realized that practically the main guest, Miss Jackson, had manipulated me with the information she provided of what happened to leave the country as soon as possible. It should be noted that she put the name of Nazir Wiggins as the last person on the guest list or registry. Dang, she was sitting here lying, y'all. This is a mess. Let's see what this other letter is. This letter is a government of the state of Baja California, Department of Forensic Services. This is the criminal investigator agent Sonny, who was investigating this, Milian. He wrote all those other reports. This was signed by attorney Renee Adalberto Galvin Asegura. This is the expert forensic doctor. Now, I think we already read this before, guys. This is the autopsy report, so I kind of don't want to go over this again. I like that this is redundant. We already went over this stuff, like how she died and stuff. They attached the autopsy report. So this is not new. This is something we went over in detail before. So I don't think I'm really going to read all this again because I read it a long time ago, but I'm going to scroll very slow. So if you guys want to look at it real quick, I'll slowly go through this, but I'm not about to read this again. They just went over the background of how old she was, the time of death, what injuries they saw on her. This is all review. This is like the injuries on her. This is the physical description of her. It was sad, all the injuries that we went over last time. This crazy postmortem. And she was in rigor mortis. That means her body was already stiff by then when they started doing the autopsy. She was dehydrated. So she didn't have much water in her. They kept her there all day. She was already unconscious all day. So of course she had no liquids in her, and she probably had released all of her, you know what I mean, when she died. She had a lot of contusions on her. She had a hematoma. You can see here. This means she had a head injury. She was bleeding internally in her brain. This is so sad going over this again now, seeing this. Oh, Lord, that she had another contusion and a hematoma on the right side of her brain. Dang, she had defibrillator burns, whatever that meant. Yeah, her injuries were really bad, y'all. This almost makes me want to cry reading this again. This story, and I do a lot of these stories on this channel, but this story was the one that really, really broke my heart. It really, 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 it still breaks my heart to this day. It makes me really careful about who I let in my circle, especially in terms of traveling. Oh God, this is sad. So yeah, guys, I'm kind of going over it slow. I know if you guys go over some of my other videos, we went over all of this. We really broke it down years ago. I just wanted to read the new police reports that we got. So this is the conclusion. The cause of death. Let's read this part. It talks about the cause of death here. So they say, we can say based on the aforesaid and the findings that the cause of death of whom in life was called Shanquella Brenata Robinson. She had an atlas and medullary dislocation. That was the neck issue. And her type of manner of death was violent, pre-existing pathology unknown. Time of death was 17 to 20 hours when the necropsy was performed. The signs of survival, yes. Wow, see, they said signs of survival. So they said she could have survived, but for the Cabo 6 delaying all this. All of this is what they're going to use in the civil lawsuit, too, to show that those Cabo 6 lied to the doctors, lied to law enforcement, and which caused further delay in her getting medical treatment that she needed. They kept her body there all day for hours when she should have been rushed to the hospital at 7:30, 8:30, whenever this occurred in the morning. Between that 7:30, 8:30 hours, they should have already took her to the hospital immediately. And she may have survived this if she had the proper medical treatment. And they had told the truth that she actually suffered a head trauma and neck injury when they had, attacked her. They said determination that the injuries are post-mortem. No, we found defibrillator injuries consistent with resuscitation efforts. This injury is in the appendix. So it looks like she sustained severe injuries when they did CPR on her. She had injuries to her ribs and everything because they were really roughly doing the CPR. So I don't know if the Cabo 6 were doing CPR on her. They were probably trying to do some type of CPR on her before they called the police. Before they called a doctor there. And they injured her body. And I know that the doctor was there for an hour doing the CPR. So That was something that they attached to show President Joe Biden. That was the letter they gave to him. And I'm very disappointed in him because he never ever talked about this case again. It's like he got the letter and just ignored them. And that was a complete failure of him and this justice. That's so sad. I wish there was a way they could sue the federal government. You know what I mean? Go after him too. About, you know what I mean? I know they're immune. I know presidents can't be sued, but I'm still like, sue the whole federal government, the Department of Justice, shoot. I know they're suing FBI and this Department of State, but they need to sue, I feel, the federal Department of Justice too, because what happened when they sent that letter to Joe Biden? Seriously. And they said the administrator Villas told investigators in a separate interview that he served as a translator for the group when the police arrived after Robinson's death. So let's see. The interview took place November 19 at 2 p.m. The prosecutor's office record shows. Wow, guys. So there was an interview, and remember they left in October. So there was another interview that happened November 19th, like several weeks later after this happened. Is this the same stuff he said? Okay, he already told us this interview though. This was an interview that he just put in their police report. Yeah, so we don't need to go over that again. And they said they classified it as violent. So this article kind of repeated some stuff we knew and then gave us some new stuff. But basically the updated information that we have is that, number one, there was a letter sent to Joe Biden, which he didn't do nothing about that situation, as sad as it is, guys. And there's going to be a civil lawsuit that we're going to have to keep a track of to find out what happens with that, to see if they're going to actually recover damages from the Cabo 6 and the FBI. It looks like, I think the mom really wants to find out what happened. I don't even think she cares about the money because she's probably not going to get much money out of this anyway. But the mom wants to find out what happened. I wish there was some way they were going to televise this or whatever, but I'm going to try to keep track of Sue Ann. I haven't seen much on Ben Crump's page, but I'm going to keep following Salamandra because I do have her followed to find out what else happens, guys. This is so very sad. This story, like all the stories I've covered on this channel, this one like hits me the most, y'all. Let's see what you guys have to say before we close this live out. Hi, everybody. Oh, my God, the people, all my beautiful people. Hi, Ellen. Hi, Ellen. Hi, Crystal. She said the fact that her head had detached from her spine. I know that was sad. Hello. Who is this person? Is this Crystal? Crystal says USA because didn't her parents pay her to have her body sent to USA from Mexico? Yes, Crystal, you're correct. They did. Maybe, okay, Christine. Hi, Christine. Christine says, maybe allegedly after Ben Crump get his money from Shanquella's parents, he might not submitted the letter. I don't know, just thinking, Sally, some people are money hungry. Yeah, Christine, you know what? That's what I wonder, because I'm like, well, what happened? How come Biden, we never heard anything about this letter? This letter was apparently sent in 2023, and we did not hear about this. We didn't hear nothing from Joe Biden. Like, he just threw it by the wayside and just act like he didn't care. So like Christine said, because I haven't heard anything from Ben Crump regarding this, any updates on this. I had to go look this article up and find it myself to see that they're suing. So I wonder why they're not keeping this out in the public. They should be doing interviews. They should be on different news stations. They're not really talking about it. I just, it's crazy. It's hard to find information on this because they're not like keeping it out in the forefront. And then Crystal said it was her parents who had me in the USA do the autopsy. Yeah, they did have a person who do the autopsy in the US, but also it wasn't the FBI. I thought the FBI did it too, because the FBI did their own autopsy before the funeral. I remember that. Okay, they said, will Benjamin Crump be Shanquella's parents' lawyer as well? Yeah, he still is. But Sue Ann Robinson, let me get her picture up real quick. Sue Ann Robinson is the main attorney that's doing the civil lawsuit right now. Not Ben Crump. Ben Crump is kind of like the co-counsel in the lawsuit. He's still their lawyer, yes. but he's the co-counsel. They're both the lawyers. They're both retained by Shanquella's family. But you know what I'm kind of worried about, though? I feel like they're draining that GoFundMe money. So they have GoFundMe money, right? I'm really worried. I hope that Ben Crump and this Duan people don't drop this case once they lose all that money, because I'm really worried about that, you guys. You remember they raised all that money from the GoFundMe? I feel like they're maximizing that money, and then once the money's gone, I feel like they're gonna drop the case. Like, this is so sad. I hope they don't do that. I hope Ben Crumb don't do this family dirty, y'all. I really hope not. Like, let me know in the chat what you guys think, but I don't feel too good. I feel like they're draining that money out. But anyway, I hope they really finish this through and sue those people, sue all the departments as they're suing in the FBI and the Cabo Six as they are. They already filed their complaint and everything. So this is the beginning stages, which means now they're going to be in the discovery stage. So they're going to be asking for them subpoenaing court records, evidence from the FBI, evidence from the Department of State. They're going to be subpoenaing evidence from the Cabo Six, and any evidence that was related to this incident. They're going to have to provide all that evidence, their bank records, their flight itineraries, any physical evidence they have. They're going to have to provide that to Shanquella's attorneys. So that's happening right now. That's their very beginning stages. This is going to span out for a few years, but I don't know if it's going to be televised, guys. So we're going to have to keep digging and kind of following what we can to get the information, because it doesn't look like they're going to have like a public trial, which sucks, because I haven't seen this really talked about a lot anymore, or more so digging for the information I'm finding. Cookie says, oh, Cookie, I miss you. Oh my gosh, I haven't talked to you so long. Cookie says the fib burns are from that resuscitation machine when they put the paddles on your chest. Oh yeah, okay, so when they were trying to resuscitate her, they gave her burns to it. Thank you so much for explaining that. Her body was embalmed in Mexico. Yes, that's true, Crystal, which could have compromised the evidence too, and which probably made it hard for them to do the autopsy. Yes, her body was embalmed. I remember that. And Ugly really changed her name, the murderer. Yeah, Ugly changed her name, Cookie Girl. Her name is now Imani Green. She went and changed her name. Let me show y'all. She thinks she gonna hide. Girl, you gonna have to change your name again, because now I didn't expose you. Everybody know who your name is, Miss Imani. I don't know why she thought she was gonna go by Imani Green. She even changed her last name, y'all. Cookie says, I cannot believe no one has told the truth about after they return. I can't believe no one has told the truth after they return. All this time, I pray they never have rest until the truth comes out. Me too. And you already can see, Cookie, that they aren't having rest, because Imani, which is the Diogene, she didn't get rest so bad that she changed her name. And if you guys didn't hear, they got into a fight. I don't know if I posted about this story, but the Dejanay, Alyssa, Winter, and all of them went out to a club one night, right? And while they were at the club, all these people saw them at the club and jumped them after the party. They were pulling off people's wigs. They pulled off Dejanay's wig. They were beating Dejanay up. Alyssa was fighting too. Winter was fighting. They were getting jumped by a bunch of girls after the club because of what happened to Shanquella. So they're getting their karma. People are beating them up at clubs. They can't go anywhere. I mean, Dejanay can't get peace, so she had to change her name to try to hide who she is. She's changing her identity. So, Cookie, I don't think they're getting peace. And now they're getting sued. So they got to go to court now. They just got subpoenaed. So this case is just now starting. They have to serve everybody. So this case is going to be panning on for years. They're never going to see peace. They're never going to see peace. And they're going to have to pay back on this family too financially. So they're going to get their justice, even if it's not through getting arrested. Okay. Oh yeah. Cookie says, I thought that was said too, but I think the mom said she didn't know anything about missing money spent by them. Remember they called the mom asking for $100 for the doctor and if she had insurance. Yes, Cookie, that was the situation. I thought they asked for more than $100 though, girl. I do. Sorry, it's starting to come back to my memory. Didn't they steal? Oh yeah, remember this, Christine? Didn't they steal 2,000 to 3,000 from Shanquella's purse to stay at another hotel and bought airfares? Yeah, they did steal her money. I do remember they took her money. They took a lot of her money, but they didn't stay at another hotel. They just they used some of that money to get to the airport, and then they paid for their flights to get back home. And they was all I don't know what else they did with the rest of that money, but they escaped, y'all. Doesn't the couple six have her phones? Yeah, they had her phone. They took her luggage. They took all her stuff. I think they might have returned it, but I don't know if they did return it back to the mom. The mom said she was missing missing some of the stuff from her daughter. Oh, you guys want to know? I wonder what happened to the dad, though. I heard about Salamandra, but the dad is gone now. So, do anybody know what happened to Shanquella's dad? I'm gonna try to look that up because I didn't hear nothing about Shanquella's dad. Shanquella Robinson's dad. Is there anything that happened with him? Bernard Robinson. Is there anything that he's talked about? No, the last time that Bernard had talked was April 2023. So he has not really been talking about his talking into the news outlets anymore. I think Salamandra is taking the lead on this now. Bernard is kind of in the background. That's sad. Let's hear though. I don't know. You know, I don't think we ever talked about this one when he found out the news that they weren't prosecuting it. So let's hear what he had to say when that happened. Because I don't think we ever covered this one. It says Shanquella's dad speaks after Fed declined to prosecute following her death in Mexico. The father of Shanquella Robinson spoke Monday for the first time since the U.S. Attorney's Office announced it would not be prosecuting in her death. Bernard Robinson spoke at a Beatties Ford Memorial Garden, which is where Shanquella was laid to rest. He said there were delays and complications in getting her headstone ordered, but it is finally marking her final resting place nearly 6 months after her death. Her headstone has her nickname Boss Lady engraved on it, along with the message, God bless, love, mom, dad, and family. Oh, cool. So she got her headstone now. But let's see what the dad had to say about them not prosecuting. So Robinson said he wanted to let all those who love Shanquella know they can come see her at her memorial garden. He is trying to move on while still deeply in grief over the loss of his daughter. That's sad. Robinson spoke for about 20 minutes and answered several questions, including his reaction to the U.S. Attorney's Office declining a week ago to prosecute anyone for Shanquella's death. He says that she will be at peace once the United States Department or who else is involved. The higher-ups got to do something with this case to make it happen, Robertson said. Then she will be at peace. So Bernard Robinson feels like his daughter is not at peace until they pursue justice. That's so sad, man. He said that having a gravesite is one way he can begin to grieve, but there are other facets of the case that are holding the process back. He said, I'm frustrated about it to the utmost. He said, I just can't understand why the autopsy that I got back saying that her neck and spinal cord were broken. The Mecklenburg County Medical Examiner released its autopsy last week, which contradicted a partial autopsy conducted by Mexican officials that showed Shanquella Robinson's spinal cord had been severed and her neck was broken. Mexico only did a partial autopsy. Guys, okay, this is new. I did not know that Mexico only did a partial autopsy. They didn't do a full one before they embalmed her body. No wonder the evidence is all jacked up, guys. This is terrible. Mexico messed this evidence up. Oh my God. Dang, Mexico only did a partial autopsy. And officials there did not make a visual confirmation that her spinal cord was severed and spinal cord was broken. Guys, this is jacked up. This is why you got to be careful going out of the country. And if you end up dying there, because they messed up this case. They did not do a full autopsy. This is new information. We did not know that they only did a partial autopsy. They only did a visual determination. They didn't really confirm that her neck was broke, guys. They just visually looked at her body and guessed whether her neck was broke. Can you believe this? Let's read that one more time because I'll make sure I read that right. Y'all got to read it with me. Mexico only did a partial autopsy. And officials there did not make a visual confirmation that her spinal was severed and spinal was broken. Oh, they did not make a visual confirmation. So how they know her neck was broke then? Because this is what they're saying, guys, in this article. They're saying that the autopsy that was done in the U.S. had different results and different determinations than what Mexico determined. And Mexico didn't even do a full thing. They didn't mess up the autopsy. And then they turned around and messed up the body even more by embalming the body. So they couldn't even do all the evidentiary review here in the U.S. No wonder the U.S. Department didn't have enough evidence because the evidence was already messed up by Mexico. Oh my God, guys. Shanquella's cause of death was undetermined according to Mecklenburg County Medical Examiner's Office. That was, they're talking about the U.S. Medical Office. Okay, guys, they're talking about the office here in the U.S. They couldn't determine versus what Mexico. So Mexico didn't do a proper autopsy. Here's the issue here. Mexico did not do a proper autopsy. According to this, they did a partial autopsy. And they basically did not really adequately determine whether her neck was broken. They didn't do the proper analysis that they were supposed to do to determine that her neck was broken. Okay. So they embalmed her body after that, after they jacked the autopsy up. And when the body was shipped back to the U.S., when the U.S. Department, which was Mecklenburg, did their autopsy, they couldn't find out what the death was. So that's why we have two different autopsies with two different results. That autopsy from Mexico was basically incorrect, guys. And they compromised and destroyed evidence when they embalmed her body because in the US, they couldn't do a proper analysis. And so they weren't able to determine what her death was in the US, which is why there was a causation issue and why the FBI ultimately was not able, why the State Department was not able to file criminal charges because of what Mexico did. So Mexico was the one that messed up the case, basically. They screwed it up. That is so sad, y'all. My God. This article here really is breaking it down, though. Let me keep reading this, though. Anyway, they said, I would like to know how many years experience. Okay, Shanquella's death was undetermined according to the county medical examiner in the U.S. I would like to know how many years experience he had in doing an autopsy on her body. That's what Shanquella's dad had said after this happened. He said, that's not only the crucial piece of this puzzle he wants to be solved. There's still no word whether Mexico will extradite one of the 5 others of that trip. Mexico prosecutors issued a warrant in the case, but have not named that person. Y'all put a hole in this father's heart. So this is what the dad said. He said, y'all put a hole in this father's heart right here. Sure enough have, said Shanquella's dad. I don't know if God going to be able to mend it. Oh, their life is moving along, walking around here like they enjoy life. But this father is struggling each and every day. Okay, let's see here. This is, I guess, okay, let's read this, guys, because this is what's supposed to be what, when Biden was the president, this was supposed to have been what was the response of Biden. How come it's not playing? Oh, no. Now playing above. Where? This page is all messed up, guys. I don't know. So yeah, that video won't play. I don't know why it's stuck, but I guess that was supposed to be the response. I don't know. It didn't work. So guys, That's basically what's going on. That's the update in the Shanquella Robinson case. I'll keep trying to look around to follow up later on with another update. This story is still unfolding. I feel sad for the dad. He's kind of stuck at a loss. He doesn't have a lawyer right now. So it seems like Shanquella's mom is basically continuing the fight, and the dad is just, he has a hole in his heart, and he's mourning every day. It's so sad. It's not like he's able to really get closure. You're right, Crystal. If they had done a full autopsy, they could have helped that case. And not only the full autopsy, but the problem is they didn't even adequately determine whether Shanquella's neck was even broken in the first place. That might have been an incorrect determination, guys. Come to find out, this whole case was wrong, y'all. We don't even know if everything in that autopsy is correct. They dropped the ball in Mexico, guys. And honestly, I hate to say it, y'all. Please don't get mad at me. Don't shoot the messenger, but I'm going to keep it all the way real. This was the fault of Mexico. It wasn't the fault of the FBI. When that body came back from Mexico, her evidence was already destroyed. They embalmed her body. So when they did the test, when they did the autopsy here in America, they weren't able to do the proper test that they needed to do to find out what caused her death. And then when they did the autopsy, they didn't determine that her neck was broken. So what the autopsy, the medical examiner determined in Mexico was wrong. He didn't even do a full autopsy, y'all. He messed it up. Like, he didn't know what he was doing. So this is the fault of Mexico, why the Cabo Six got away with this, y'all. But they're not going to get away with it. There's a civil lawsuit, like I said. It's just began. Diogene was just served with those documents recently. Just past Wednesday, she was served. This is brand new. And they couldn't find her because she changed her name. So when they found out her name was Imani, they found out where she was. She had responded electronically. It looks like they're still trying to serve the other Cabo Six. They served some of them, but they're still in the process. So we're at the very beginning stages of this lawsuit. Guys, worst case scenario, I don't think they're going to have much of a strong case against FBI. I think their lawsuit really is against Mexico because Mexico jacked up the case. But the good part about suing FBI and the State Department is the depositions, because now they're going to be able to subpoena all of the records of Shanquella Robinson that the FBI had and the State Department had that they did not give to the family because they withheld all that evidence that they did in their investigation. They didn't give it to Shanquella's family. So Shanquella don't know, Salamandra does not know what evidence was used to make this determination. Okay? So this is the good part, is they're going to get the information gathering that they need from FBI and the State Department, but I don't think they have a strong case against them. We'll see if they settle, though. If they do settle, that's a good thing, because that means they still win something, which I think they'll probably settle, because those two aren't as strong, but they have a stronger case against the Cabo Six, which don't have much money as it is. Okay. But they'll probably get something from the FBI. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe they'll file a motion to dismiss, or maybe they'll settle. We'll see how they react to that lawsuit. But like Crystal said, I do hope they get justice. And like Ellen says, wow, there has to be an avenue for justice somehow. Yes, Ellen, I think their justice is through this civil lawsuit. My only concern, let me be very real with you. My concern is I don't know if I trust Ben Crump and Sue Ann that much. I'm really worried that after they drain this girl dry of their money from that GoFundMe, I don't know if they're going to stick around. I'm worried. I'm going to keep it real. I'm worried. I don't know how much money if they can get from the FBI and the State Department, if they can get anything. But let me keep it real. Ben Crump is a good attorney. That man is a good attorney. He actually went after, okay, I don't know if you guys remember that case. I covered this case, but I didn't get much views on it. So I don't know if you guys seen that story where there was a heavyset kid who went to a theme park, and he went on the ride and he was too big for the ride, and they let him get on the ride anyway. And then he ended up falling several feet to his death. It was very sad. It was all on camera. It was on X, everywhere. Everybody saw that video of him dying. It was so sad. Well, Ben Crump was his attorney, and he got several $1 million back for that lawsuit. That mom won millions and millions. That was a huge bill. I mean, y'all, they left out that lawsuit. They got millions of dollars. Like, I don't know if it was 100 million. It was a lot of money. Okay. So Ben Crump is a very good attorney. So if he went after these entities, he went after these people, I feel like he must have did his due diligence to know he's going to win. My only little caveat is I'm really scared. I don't know if they're going to stick it out once the money runs dry. That's my really fear. You know, are they trying to drain that? Do they really care about Shanquella? Do they really care about getting her justice? Or are they just trying to maximize out that GoFundMe? And then once the GoFundMe goes away, where are they going to be? I'm a little worried, y'all. I'm a little worried. What y'all think about this? Because y'all might know Ben Crump better than I do. Yeah, they should. Oh, you remember that case? Okay, you do remember it. Yeah, they should not have let him get on that ride. Or that was another case that, oh my God, traumatized me for months. So Kathleen says, I feel that they lied to the doctor about what happened. Yes, they did, girl. You're right, Kathleen. I was saying that a little early. It's not even a feeling, Kathleen. It's a fact. They did lie. They told the doctor that she died of alcohol poisoning, which was a lie. She died of those injuries. And had she told the doctor the correct injuries, she would have got the proper treatment. So that wasn't even a feeling, girl. You was 100% on point on that. Okay. That happened. They did lie. So that lawsuit right there is cut and dry. Okay, here it is. Christina says thank you, girl. See, this is what I love about my people. Y'all be telling me. She said on WCNC says this new court filing for Shanquella's case is for $100 million. Yep. Ben Crump is known for going for big, deep pockets, Christine. And I think where he's going to hit FBI and the State Department is he's going to try to get them to settle out of court. Because that one's going to be a tough hurdle to carry over. But like I said, I don't know what evidence Ben Crump and Sue Ann have. I'm just a little worried, though. If that money runs dry from the GoFundMe, are they going to still be around? That's all I wonder. If they're going to stick it out. What y'all think? Do you think they're going to stick it out? Are they going to bail out on Shanquella's mom? Cookie says, I just wonder, was Shanquella just not conscious but still alive all day after the event? She probably was still alive, Cookie, but she was basically dying. She was still alive, but she was dying slowly, basically. Because the convulsions showed that she was basically ending near her. She was basically concluding her life. She was entering into cardiac arrest and she had expired. So that whole day, like she was beat in the morning between 7 and 7:30 a.m. They kept her body laying there. She was alive, but she was unconscious. She had a heartbeat. She had a pulse. She had everything when the doctor arrived around 4 in the evening. So she was still alive, but her body was slowly dying out. Her organs were shutting down. Different organs were shutting down slowly. She was dying slow. Had they would have got her to that doctor early in the morning, she probably could have been revived and lived, you know. Crystal, let's see what Christine said here. What did Christine say? Sorry. Christine says, where were the EMT when the ambulance arrived? That's a good question, girl. I don't know. That is a good question. I don't know, actually. That detail wasn't mentioned in there. But I know they tried to resuscitate her, so I don't know if they were there with the doctor at the time. And Kathleen says, and the language barrier as well, girl. Yes, Kathleen. And the language barrier as well led to it all being wrong. And it helped them because they all contributed to her death. Yeah, they did. And you're right. Kathleen is on the money. She must know this case. And it made it look like, well, the doctor didn't do their job. Exactly, Kathleen. And I had to backtrack on that, Kathleen, because I don't think it was necessarily that doctor's fault, because a doctor is not able to render you the proper treatment you need if you're lying to the doctor. You're not telling them what really happened to you. So they're not able to target whatever injury or whatever treatment you need if they don't know, if you don't give them the information. So they lied to the doctor. They told the doctor that she had alcohol poisoning. So the doctor was treating her for alcohol poisoning. That's what they thought. They didn't know that she was beat to death in the morning and that she had a head injury and a possible neck injury. So like Kathleen said, yeah, that was on the money. That Kathleen, you know this case, girl. I can tell you've been watching Shanquella. But yeah, they're going to win the case against the Cabo Six. I'm just really kind of on the fence about FBI and the State Department. I think they're going to have to settle out of court on that one. Main people assisting them spoke English, right? Oh, main people assisting them. Cookie says main people assisting them spoke English. What about Sue-Ann? Is she a good lawyer? Yes, she is. Yes, Crystal. Sue-Ann is a very good lawyer. I looked her up, studied her. We actually went over her about a few years ago. If you go over some of my videos, I did so many videos dissecting her background. She's a kind of like a celebrity lawyer too. She did like reality show stuff too. Try to find her a man at the same time. But she's a really good attorney. I'm keeping it real. That girl is really good at her job. My worry is I don't know if it's for the money or if it's really to help this family out. Okay? That's my thing. But Christine says, thank you for keeping Shanquella's name out there. Yes, I will. I'm going to keep following this case all the way till the end, y'all. I'm sorry I have not updated recently. It's just I was kind of waiting for more information to come before I came with a release, because I know they were in the works of filing this civil case, but people hadn't been served yet. We didn't know where the Cabo Six was. So now that we have actual information that Diogene was served, who now is Imani Green. So Imani trying to hide. I wonder where she got that name Imani from. But anyway, and where she get Green from. But anyway, she going to have to keep changing her name because I already exposed her name now. So other people know your name is Imani, girl. So you're going to have to change that too. Anyway, Christine said, I remember watching Sue-Ann on the dating show Trying to Find Love. Yeah, she was on there, Christine. You remember her? She was a hot mess on there. Yep, she was on that show. We talked about that, Christine, on my one of my YouTube channels a few years back. That's funny. All right, guys. So that's the update for today. Thank you for watching the live. If you guys know of any other updates, we'll keep doing updates on this story. Don't worry. But if you guys see anything else come up and I may have not reported on it yet, you can always write me in my YouTube and be like, hey, I just noticed an update with Shanquella, and you can post the link or let me know, hey, can you cover this? But I'll keep my eyes out too. So don't worry. I'm going to be searching like at least once a month to see if there's anything else new coming out. But if you guys notice anything, y'all can also let me know that you noticed something too, so I could look out for it. It's because we're all a team and we're trying to keep this story in the light, because I want to finish this case all the way till she actually gets justice. I want to finish the whole lawsuit, what happens and finds out with the lawsuit. I'm actually going to spend some time too, probably next week or this weekend, looking for the Cabo Six to see what they're up to. Maybe we can get an update on them, see what's going on in their life. If I can find them again, because they're hiding now. They've hid all their social media, so now I got to kind of dig more into find them. If I can find them, guys, we're going to see what they're up to. What's going on in their life, because I'm pretty sure the moms and parents are coming out them little closets, they was hiding for a while on social media. So if I can find them, we'll do some more updates on them, what they're up to. And also I'm going to look at Salamandra on her social media, find out. And then we'll do another live just to kind of see where everybody is, see if we can find Bernard as well. Christine says, I'm happy I found your channel and I'm immediately subscribed and like your video. Thank you, Christine. Much love to you, sweetie. I appreciate you so much. We are a YouTube family here. She said, is that YouTube NCB still reporting? Yes, he is, Christine. He is still reporting. You know what, though, Christine? I have not seen him report on Shanquella, which breaks my heart. It turns out he really did not care about Shanquella, y'all. He was being fake. He has not reported about this story at all. I've been waiting to see if he was going to mention her. For the last few years, he just moved on to other stories. She was just a story to him. She was just clout, guys. Sad. But he is still reporting. He just never mentions Shanquella, though. Crystal said, this was definitely planned to kill Shanquella. I do agree. I think it was definitely jealousy. This story has definitely changed my life. It has made me more careful around people. I don't trust people, especially going to trips. Actually, after this tragedy happened, guys, I went to a trip in Ghana and I went with a friend. And y'all, I was so cautious. I was thinking about the Shanquella Robinson case, y'all. I was terrified of that lady. I was making sure I was watching myself, dotting my I's, crossing my T's. I did not trust my friend at all. I made sure I didn't drink any alcohol when I was there. I watched my drink around her because she was jealous of me too, y'all. Why did I do? Almost had a Shanquella Robinson incident, y'all. The girl tried to fight me in a hotel. Can you believe I almost had a Shanquella Robinson incident? Yeah, the girl was jealous of me and stuff because I was Miss Black USA and she was supposed to be there to escort me around. And she was mad because all the people there in Ghana liked me and she wanted to be the center of attention. So I was like, oh, Lord, I had to pray my way out of that. I had to just pretend to be extra nice to her so she didn't get crazy on me. It was crazy, guys. It was scary. Oh, Lord, I was thinking, God, I felt like Shanquella got me out that situation, y'all. So just be careful. I know Cookie, it was definitely disgusting behavior, girl. It has changed my life around who I trust. But I love you guys. We will come back again. I do report on all kinds of stories. If you guys want me to cover a story or an update, let me know. I'm here for you guys. Love you. Like, comment, and subscribe.